Hello and welcome to the second issue of Paperdolls for Might and Magic World of XEEN. So overall in these Paperdolls issues I wanted not just to showcase how our characters would possibly look like and list the things that they have equipped, but I also actually wanted to talk about why I decided to equip them, since I don't really show all the inventory management in the game itself, so the Paperdolls issues are fairly nice for that purpose as well. It's just that historically I've never been very good at explaining those things, so I'll try to change that. So anyway, let's start once again from the start. So first we have Kirk, the male human barbarian, currently at level 17, which gives him 5 attacks per round, not bad. And his highest stat is of course Might at 53, rated fantastic. Obviously for a barbarian the Might is the most important stat, but also it is very important because he is the first person in our group, so it counts towards bashing down doors, and also he can open the things that require a Might check, and the game so far has been throwing quite a lot of those things at us. Even the last dungeon we've come across those. So yes, that's a very good thing to have. So in his equipment list we still have, just from the last time, his steel scale armor, the platinum boots, and the pearl gauntlets. In fact, Kirk was the person whose inventory has changed the least from all of them. For most other people, the only thing that did not change was the boots, and the reason why is obvious. So for Kirk, why I didn't change these things, well, we didn't actually come across anything better than that. Which is unfortunate, because steel scale armor isn't that good in comparison. Steel isn't bad, but there can be better things at this point in the game, so I'm hoping we will get something better quite soon. Same with the gauntlets. Pearl is okay, but could be better. Then we have 2 new things on Kirk in terms of armor. So first he has the power cape, and second he has the lapis helmet. So the helmet is obviously more AC, and the power cape, this is the power which is energy resistance. Well, or energy damage, but of course since it's armor, this is energy resistance. So it's pretty good to have elemental resistances on things like capes and cloaks, because those are some of the things that you probably don't expect to have special materials on. Although it's still better to have elemental resistances on rings and other accessories, because metals on them don't do anything at all. But yes, whenever I'm choosing what to equip, it's always a question of which item is better, and sometimes it's hard to decide. Like, is a power cape better than, say, a cape of protection, which would give some AC bonus? It's a different sort of bonus, and it's quite difficult to compare between some of them sometimes. But yes, in this case we don't actually have all that many capes to begin with, so the power cape going to him is fairly good an idea. Then, when it comes to the weapons he still has the steel longbow. It's pretty good, so I don't expect that to be replaced that soon, but then again, we are getting some really good ranged items lately, so maybe this will be replaced too. The main thing here, as you can see in the Paperdoll itself, is the toxic flamberge. Yes, so flamberges are the best weapons, two-handed weapons in the game, I think. At least when it comes to barbarians. I think knights can actually wear something that is only for ninjas that is a bit better than a flamberge, possibly, but not by much. So basically, for a two-handed weapon, a flamberge is amazing. And when it comes to the bonus, Toxic adds plus 16 to acid damage. That is amazing. Having any sort of elemental damage bonus is already good, because some enemies are resistant to physical damage, and yet not to the elemental damage bonus, which allows taking them down with melee. But plus 16 is a whole lot. That's... yeah. It's strange, because the poison things, like acidic, venomous, poisonous, and toxic, they are all higher damage than compared to the other types of damage, like burning, fiery, pyric, and fuming. They do only like 2, 3, 4, and 5 damage, so it's kind of strange how that works. And also, Toxic adds plus 16 to damage, which is strange because all the other elements have things like Electric, which adds plus 15, and Seething that adds plus 15, and not plus 16. So it's just one more damage point over other elements. So I'm not sure why Acid is such special in that case. Alright, then, in his accessories, we have still the Sharp Brooch, so that will probably stay there, because Sharp adds a plus to accuracy, and for someone who has high might, you want to have them with high accuracy too. Then everything else in his accessories are new. So first he has the Lucky Ring. From here I decided to color code the things, because as you can remember in the game, you get barrels and vials and whatnot to drink, and they're color coded and they give some extra to a specific stat. So I decided to follow the same pattern with the Paperdolls. So here we have a Lucky Ring, which I made look white, because white's luck. And of course that adds luck, and actually it adds plus 20 to luck if I recall correctly. So that is quite a bit, and given that luck is the one that means protection from any type of elemental damage, that is really good. And we have a lot of rings like that, and I'm not sure why, but I'm certainly not complaining about that. Then, the other ring that he has... well, yeah, the other ring he has is a life ring, color-coded green, which adds a plus to his hit points. I don't really like that, because already the barbarians get a lot of hit points. So, plus 10 to hit points is not really that much for barbarians. But I just don't have any better rings to equip here. Then, he has an accurate belt. Obviously, some more bonus to his accuracy, which all in all brings his accuracy to 39, rated incredible, which is pretty good when it comes to accuracy. And then he also has a fast necklace. Obviously adds a plus to speed. Once again, pretty good for our frontline characters. And also for barbarians that can add more AC, and barbarians, since they cannot equip heavy armor, that's pretty useful too. And then the last thing that he has is a Frost Medal. Obviously a bonus to elemental protection. Good for a accessory item. Actually, Frost adds plus 10 to cold resistance, so that's actually pretty bad. I probably want to replace that at some point, but we don't have that many medals, so that's why. Alright, so that was that. Let's go to the next character. Pavel Chekhov, the male dwarf knight. Level 17. with a high stat being accuracy... No, wait. Actually luck at 50. Rated fantastic. Accuracy is at 40, rated gigantic, which is also pretty good. And he gets 4 attacks per round. Not too bad, but you can see that knights do fall behind barbarians when it comes to dealing out damage, which is a bit unfortunate for the knights. But I guess it does balance things out a bit. Then again, like, the barbarians also get a lot of hit points. So it counterbalances back again, and it makes knights a bit obsolete, which is quite unfortunate for the knights. Anyway, as you can see, Chekhov looks pretty impressive. And that is because of the armor that he has equipped. All of his armor is actually new. So, starting off, he has a flaming cloak, which adds quite a bit to the orange look for him. And obviously adds +2 fire protection. Then he has gold boots. Again, adding to the orange look there. And gold is pretty high on the AC chart. It's not the best, but it's close to the best. It's just below platinum and above steel. Then he has also the amber plate armor. Amber isn't that good, it's just +3 to AC, but plate armors are fairly rare, so it's still fairly good. And Amber is also orange, so that's why you get all full orange outfit there. And also, since Amber is one of the rare, quote-unquote, metal types, though it's clearly not a metal, but the game cluebook says so, I make it look more fancy than the common metals like steel, silver and whatnot, so I gave him plate legs there too. And then he also has an electric helmet, which unfortunately is a bit obscured by the cloak. Once again, I'm making cloaks look more involved with having a longer looks and also have a hood, so that sometimes results in it obscuring the helmet itself. But yeah, anyway, so the electric helmet of course adds a +2 electric resistance. It's once again quite difficult sometimes to discern which is better to have, a protection item or a protection against elements item. So yeah, and electric is actually +20 to electric resistance, so that is actually fairly good. That's why he has that. And then next he also has a golden shield, once again adding to the orange looks. And finally he has ebony gauntlets. Ebony is one of the fancy rare items, and it's actually one of the best. It adds +4 to AC, and it's the penultimate rare item. The +4 is the same as steel in common items, so the rare items cost a whole lot, but they aren't very effective, basically. And that's what I'm trying to show in the Paperdolls as well. Having them look more fancy, but perhaps not quite as useful. Or practical looking. Then, in his weapon list, he still has his gold longbow, once again adding to the orange looks. And the new thing that he has is a thermal katana. Obviously a weapon that can only be equipped by ninjas or knights, because knights are arms masters like that. And thermal is a special attribute for energy damage. Not sure why that's not fire damage, but okay. Like, the energy things don't really make much sense. Like, sonic? Dense? What? How does that relate to energy? Anyway, the thermal bonus is actually plus 15 to energy damage. Given that energy damage is a lot more rare than other types of elemental damage, I think it's better to prefer energy damage over, say, acid damage, because fewer enemies should be resistant to that. So that's why I'm trying to equip people with energy weapons. And plus 15 is not bad, it's just 1 point below toxic. So definitely a good thing to use here. And then in his accessories, he still has the Swift Ring, which adds a plus to speed. That's why he has pretty good speed as well. Well, 29 rated super, which is just below 30 rated amazing. And the other things that he has are the Lucky Belt. It's a bit hard to see because I put it below his armor, because amber is something that is transparent and I can put things behind his armor, so that makes more sense. If he had non-transparent armor, I would put all the accessories on top, which doesn't look quite as good, but at least it's visible. Then he has a sharp medal, an accurate cameo, and a winner's ring. So sharp adds accuracy, accurate adds accuracy, and winners adds luck. And winners adds a lot of luck. Well, actually it adds plus 15 luck, so that's not that much. Where does he get all that luck from, I wonder? Well, in any case... Alright, because he has the Lucky Belt and a winner's ring, so that's 2 luck boosting items. Yeah. Alright. So yes, accurate and sharp give plus to accuracy, that's why his accuracy is at 40, which is pretty good. And that's all for Chekhov. Let's go to the next character. Sarek, the male elf paladin, level 16. And his highest stat is personality at 54, rated fantastic. In his equipment list, we have quite a few changes. So first, what didn't change are the gold boots and the quartz plate mail. Interestingly enough, that didn't change. I was expecting there to be better things, but then again, quartz is the best from the rare material types. So I guess it's hard to top that, though it's pretty much the same as something between steel and gold, so it could be better still. Then now he has a shocking helmet, which adds a pretty good bonus to electricity resistance, plus 15. And then he also has a burning cape. Of course, fire protection. And lastly, and most importantly, he has ruby gauntlets. Pretty good. Ruby is one of those precious materials. The first one of the precious materials. And all of them add an incredible amount of bonuses. So ruby adds a whopping plus 10 to AC. That's better than platinum. So obviously whenever we get a precious material item, I'm going to equip it on someone, no questions asked. Well, unless we get even better precious materials. But so far we only have a few of them, because it's just the first part of the game. And then in his weapons, he now has the Power Shortbow Beast Bopper. Power is a bonus to energy damage, Beast Bopper is something that is not actually documented on the clue book. I'm thinking that it means extra damage against beast types. I guess that means some wild animals or whatnot. I'm not too sure how that works. But yeah, I guess some of the enemies are marked as being beasts. Well, having something like that is always good, because you never know when you're going to run across a beast. And then the other thing that he has, and whoops, that's actually a mistake in the Paperdolls. He actually has an Emerald Grand Axe. This one looks actually like a Quartz Grand Axe, which it's not. Emerald actually adds +7 to hit and +15 to damage. That is absolutely amazing. It's just unfortunate that Sarek doesn't get to attack all that often, since he is half spellcaster. Though he does still get a decent amount of attack sense, so it's all good to have. Of course, the two-handed weapons don't allow you to equip a shield, which means that his AC suffers because of that. But it's still fairly decent. It's at 41, so yeah. And usually when I decide whether to equip a two-handed weapon or a one-handed weapon, I consider the one-handed weapons that I have available and the shields that I have available, and then compare that, when their effects are summed up, to the effects of the two-handed weapon, and bam, there's the result. And that's why I typically try to still keep the old shields that I don't use. So right now I have given Spock the silver shield, so that in case I get some good one-handed weapon, I would have a shield to go with it. Alright, then the other things in Sarek's equipment list are the Archmage ring. He still has that one, which gives a good bonus to spell points, and of course for paladins that's the best thing, because personality works and have the efficiency compared to other classes. So adding directly to spell points is very useful there. And then he has a chance belt, which increases luck, a toxic metal, again under his armor because it's transparent. Obviously that adds +2 resistance against poison. Then he also has a Sonic Brooch, which adds +2 to his energy resistance. Once again, very good to have, because enemies that deal energy damage are otherwise pretty hard to deal with. And finally, he has a lucky ring. Pretty nice to have too, because after all, that's protection from all kinds of elemental damage. There's also always a bit of a question. When you have a protection against elements item, and then you have a luck item, it's difficult to say which one is better, because even though it's clear how resistances work, it's just percent of the resistance is the chance that the damage taken will be halved. And if it works, then it's rerolled with the same chance, so it can be reduced to 1/4 of the damage dealt and to 1/8 of the damage, and so on, until the check fails. So I think that if you have 100 resistance, you are not affected by that damage type whatsoever, though I'm not entirely certain about that. Meanwhile, how luck works, I have no clue. It's clearly a chance to resist damage, but whether that lowers the amount of damage you get, or if that's the chance to not take damage to begin with, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it works when it comes to tires. Like right now, Sarek has 49 luck, rated gigantic, and how much of a chance to resist damage that is, I have no clue. So it's hard to compare that too. Yeah, and then... yeah, actually I covered all of the items that Sarek has. So let's go to the next character. Montgomery Scott, the male human robber. He is level 18, and his highest stat is, once again, luck at 53, rated fantastic. And for a robber, that is, once again, the most important thing. Because he is the one who is most likely to open chests, and fail at opening chests, and then get hit by elemental damage. So both luck and elemental resistances are essential for robbers. That's why I have him equipped with a lot of elemental resistance items. And also in his Paperdoll there, he looks quite like Darth Vader, because he has an incandescent cloak and an incandescent pendant equipped, which both give a plus to energy resistance, I believe. Yes, it's just +7, but it's still good to have. And, well, they look incandescent. But from his other equipment, so the armor, he still has the gold boots from before. So he has the incandescent cloak I already talked about. Then he has a Dyna chainmail. Dyna adds +25 to electricity resistance. That is the best tire of electricity resistance equipment there is in the entire game. So, pretty good. Probably won't replace that in a long while, since he's a robber and whatnot. Then he also has a ruby helmet. I already said that ruby is really good, and when it comes to defensive items, ruby adds +10 to AC. Very good to have. And yeah, since it's ruby and it's precious, I always try to give these items more elaborate looks. Fortunately, once again, he has a cloak, so the hood kind of doesn't allow you to see it that well, but oh well. Maybe eventually he'll get a cape or something. Also, talking about that, it's interesting how in this game they changed the system. Instead of there being 3 tires of cloaks, capes, and robes, there are only 2 tires now, cloaks and capes, and robes are things for sorcerers to equip. And then they completely removed leather armor, I think, and padded armor. Which is unfortunate in my opinion, because that lowers the amount of the whole choice there. But I guess that does result in more mage-like mages. Alright, so the last thing that he has is a pair of fuming gauntlets. Once again, that adds +12 to fire resistance. The gauntlets belonged to someone else before this, but now I gave it to the robber because of obvious reasons. And then, in his weapons, he has a toxic crossbow and a thermal pike. Of course, the toxic crossbow is obvious, lots of poison damage. And the thermal pike, thermal is +15 to energy damage. This isn't that good in comparison, so I think I will try to replace this. Because pikes in general aren't that good either. They are merely 2d8 damage. Having 2 be the least amount of damage is pretty bad for a two-handed weapon. But that's something that robbers can equip, and robbers can't equip all that much in comparison with knights or whatnot. And it does deal energy damage, and we didn't have any better weapons for one hand for him to equip. That would top this thermal pike, so that's why he has it. But I probably will replace that whenever I get the chance. Then in his accessories we have a toxic ring and an incandescent pendant from last time. No changes there. And the new things are dense scarab, which obviously is energy resistance, a true belt, which is a plus to accuracy, a fiery cameo, once again a bonus to fire resistance, and a gambler's ring. Now that one is interesting because gambler's ring adds plus 25 to luck, and it is one of the best plus luck items, only below leprechaun's items. So yes, that's all the items for Scotty. Let's go to the next character. Leonard McCoy Bones, the male human cleric. Level 17, with his highest stat being personality at a whopping 64, rated fantastic. In his equipment list, lots of things have changed. The only thing that remains from last time is his platinum boots, because they're really good. The new things that he has are venomous gauntlets, which of course adds plus to toxic resistance. It's also pretty strange how in the game there's a typo where it's spelled with an E. It's supposed to be spelled with an O, but oh well. And also in the cluebook that was fixed. So it's interesting how that works. Then he has a gold splint mail, that's why his looks are pretty good too, with gold splint mail and legs. And since gold is pretty fancy, I gave him those two. Then he has an iron cloak. Not very good, iron is just +1 to AC, I believe, and I will want to replace that with something else whenever I get the chance. But so far we haven't got a whole lot of the cloaks. And then Bones here is the one who has the obsidian shield. Our first obsidian item in the game. The one that we got from Castle Kalindra, if I recall correctly. And obviously we will not be replacing this at any point during the game, because this is the ultimate item. And the last thing that he has is a radiating helmet, which is, I believe, protection from energy. Yeah, +20 energy resistance, not bad. Then he has a single weapon, a platinum maul. So it's pretty good because it's platinum. It's the best of the regular materials. And of course clerics cannot use ranged items, so he doesn't have any bow. He cannot even use a sling, which is unfortunate. But oh well. Overall, clerics are pretty good at equipping things because splint mail is pretty good. And mauls aren't that bad either. Then in his accessories, he has a charm necklace, obviously to increase his personality. Then an accurate belt. Well, I don't suppose clerics really need accuracy that much, but it's not bad to have that just in case. And then he has a flaming ring, obviously fire protection. Then cold ring, obviously cold protection. Then a sonic brooch, which is protection from energy. And finally a shocking cameo, protection against electricity, which means that he has resistance bonuses in every single category except for magic. So for a cleric that's also pretty good. And he has in total 56 AC due to his obsidian shield, which by the way adds plus 20 to AC, I think. Yeah, it does. So yeah, that's a very nice combination. We can be pretty sure that our cleric will not go down before other people, and he will be able to heal everyone. So that's nice. So let's go to the last character. Spock, the male elf sorcerer. Level 16, with his highest stat being intellect at an astounding 92. Rated astounding. And in his equipment list, we again have a lot of changes. The two things that did not change are the platinum boots and the steel gauntlets. But everything else changed, and now he looks like a wandering pilgrim or something. Which I guess is appropriate for Vulcans, because if you've seen Enterprise, you know that they do go in robes like that in order to find logic and whatnot. The new things that he now has are steel robes. Not bad for a sorcerer, though I still wish he had some better because his AC is fairly low, all things considered. It's at 38. I think that's lowest? No, there's actually lower. Wow, Scotty has 34 AC, but that is understandable, since he needs elemental protection more than physical. So then, Spock also has a ruby helmet, once again very nice. So we have two ruby helmets in general, and when need be I will switch them over to equalize everyone's AC. And the last thing from armor that he has is the kinetic cloak, which is a bonus to energy resistance. Then, the weapon that he has is called the Silver Staff Bug Zapper. Since silver is a regular material, I made it look fairly utilitarian. It's like a fighting staff, and not a magical staff, and not a walking staff like last time. And Bug Zapper, I guess, means a bonus effect against insects. Not very useful, but then again, maybe we will fight some insects in the future anyway, so maybe that will be useful. And again, Spock doesn't really do a whole lot of fighting in melee anyways. After all, he is a spellcaster. And then in his accessories, we have a venomous brooch, protection against poison, a magical ring, protection against magic, a troll ring, which is a much needed boost to his hit points. In fact, troll is one of the better hit point boosting items. It adds, I think, plus 20 to hit points. Let me check. Yeah. The life ring that Kirk has adds +10 to hit points. And the only thing better than a troll item is a vampiric item, which adds a whopping 50 hit points. But it will probably take some time until we get one of those. Then he also has a Vigor Scarab, which increases his endurance, which also then increases his hit points. And lastly, a Cold Belt, additional resistance against cold. So yes, that's pretty good to have. And that's everything. So yeah, that's our current equipment and the reasons and the things that they do. It's interesting how in this game you can only equip 2 rings and 2 medals, as opposed to I think 5 rings in Isles of Terra. So you really need to prioritize which ones to equip. And that also keeps the accessories tab fairly clean. Though overall I don't really like the tabs of weapons, armor, and accessories, because the armor tab always gets full very quickly, since it's boots, gauntlets, plate, mail, and helmet, and even cloak that goes into that slot. Accessories, there are only 5 at all times that you can equip. I feel like cloaks should be an accessory slot and not armor. And then weapons, there's always only 1 or 2, so it's always empty. So it's not balanced at all in that case. Unfortunate, but oh well. So yes, that's all for this issue of Paperdolls, and I will see you all next time in the main videos of Might and Magic World of XEEN. See you all then. Later.